Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Felipe Novello. I am a law major at SJCJC, and today I'm here with Mr. Israel Alpuche. Mr. Alpuche is an attorney at law. He is currently the acting deputy registrar at the Belize Vital Statistics Unit, Attorney General's Ministry, Crown Council. He is the president for the year 2021 and ongoing at the Rotary Club in Corozal Town. Mr. Alpuche is also a volunteer with the Belize Human Rights Commission, Belize Bar Association, and Catholic Youth Group. It's a pleasure to have you here this afternoon, Mr. Alpuche. The purpose of this interview is to get your perspective on the lack of forensic and personal equipment here in Belize. Our group is investigating if there is a relationship between the conviction rate and the lack of forensic practitioners and tools to gather evidence. This meeting is being recorded because it will be used as one of our main primary sources of data for our criminal law research paper. So without further ado, let's commence, Mr. Alpuche. So the first question is, how would you categorize the forensic department's efficiency in gathering sufficient evidence?
Thank you, Mr. Novello, and your group for the invitation. It's my pleasure to be here to try to assist as much as I can. Well, my experience is limited because I am not too involved in criminal law as other attorneys or other colleagues of mine. However, what I have noticed is that our current forensic unit or National Forensic Service, they are very helpful, right? Many of them are trained in different specialties, ballistics, gathering data. And so if I would say how efficient they are very efficient to the capacities that, of course, they can meet. So for example, I'm not sure how far, for example, like DNA, and I know they collect fingerprints, they do blood analysis and blood data, but I think that's up to the extent of the services they provide, but that I have seen used in court, right? But the evidence they have presented, evidence they have gathered is up to standard, I would say, with what you would expect in a criminal court.
Okay, so I said, based on your experience as an attorney, have you ever encountered a case where the forensic department failed to provide required evidence due to the lack of equipment or personnel?
I wouldn't say failed, rather I would say we're unable to. For the same reason, lack of equipment or personnel. Our forensic unit is limited for the equipment, personnel, and financial investment. So sometimes you have equipment that is old and not functioning or not in use, or they have one out of many, or out of what should be many. And so if you're looking at our criminal rate or crime rate here, you have at least a murder 2 a day, right? So imagine how strained this small unit, because the National Forensic Unit is not in a large department, and they're there to serve all of these investigations. So,
do you think the lack of forensic personnel and equipment in some instances play a role in the conviction rate here in Belize?
yes, I do think that had there been, or is there more better forensic unit, bigger, more investment, more equipment, more personnel, more experts, we would have I think that would be very helpful to the attorneys or the prosecution, or the ones presenting the case before the courts. Give an example, we have all of these cameras, right? But the capacity of the forensic unit to enhance the images is limited, right? So the cameras really are very useless, even though everybody has cameras home. If our forensic unit or team cannot enhance them or do some sort of data analysis on the images, or data references by the faces, then the cameras just serve to show what occurred, not any, it's not very helpful in the case itself. Um, Blood analysis as well, blood samples. I don't, to my knowledge at least, I'm not sure that we are able to do DNA sampling here. That I am aware, we do data collection and blood collection, but we have to send them abroad to do the actual analysis to whether and determine whether this is the same blood or not on this this specific weapon or piece of evidence or clothes, etc. Now think about, again, like I told her, there's so much cases, right? If this could have been done in-house here faster, then you could have this information available. Sometimes the information even reaches in time.
Okay, so in your perspective, as you have said previously, we lack in tools and to some extent even personnel because the department is so small. So what would you say are some tools that could be invested for this department? So do you think the government should allocate more funds towards this department?
Definitely. Well, government, I hope, would try to allocate funds everywhere. However, if you want to see an improvement in the conviction rate, you need to invest in the police department, the judiciary, and well, those and the of course the legal department, which is the prosecution of the UP's office. And so, having a firm or boosted forensic unit, personnel are talking about having multiple of one, not just having a person of each thing. For example, like a ballistics expert, you can't just have one, you have these 3 or 4 or 5, right? Especially considering that we have shootings are the primary source here in Belize. We want more of these persons available looking at analysis and fingerprint analysis of this. The unit has a couple people trained. And one of the other things I want to say is that they're only trained and centered here in Belize City, right? So ideally, you'd want these experts trained throughout the country, because if something would happen across a team, if there isn't a team there, the team would have to come from here to there and think about the delay and think about the contamination of the crime scene. And so that's one of the things that we're talking about. Size and investment in size is necessary, and equipment and a maintenance of those equipment. We all have it in Belize that we always like to buy things, but we don't like to maintain them. So if we do invest in blood collection, blood analysis, the DNA database, etc., we need to have the finances to support them and maintain them, not just make an initial investment and we just leave it there, right? All of these takes equipment, for example, like the collection, your special swabs, right? The constant need of purchasing new swabs because the need of having these available, right?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Alpuche. Thank you so much for your time. And it was a pleasure to have this conversation with you. Thank you so much.
I hope I was able to share some knowledge. Like I told, like my experience is a bit limited, given that I practice in the civil realm. However, I have participated in criminal trials as well, but my main practice has been the civil realm.